today. I believe today's the 10th of December. And well, today's the 11th, Wednesday, December 2019. So we got this Lexus. It's a GS 300. With 222,926,000 miles on this odometer, even though that is not the original engine. There's your VIN number, ending in 4617. All right, so Lexus GS 300, like I said. Black sedan, pretty sharp looking car. Oh God. These are your outer tie rods. This is your inner tie rod, for those of you that don't know. In the center, you have the rack and pinion, where it connects to your main power steering lines, your steering wheel shaft. Outer tie rod with dust boot, passenger side, and inner tie rod and outer tie rod also there. So we got this out. It's pretty self-explanatory. You got a crown nut with a cotter pin. Pull the cotter pin out, get the nut out, knock this loose. Now the way you get that out is you gotta whack on it with a good hammer. These lines stay attached to your rack and pinion. It has 4 bolts there and there. This one's the hardest to get to. The rest are easier. This nut for the pressure line or return line, these are the hardest to get to. They're 17. I used the short 17 on a wobbler, heavy duty, and I went with 2 long extensions and a breaker pipe. And I don't think you can see from here. I'll try to get it to where y'all can see. And this phone isn't focusing to this one to slide off. One and two. And they're loose now, so you come in from the top, you crack them loose. You want to relieve pressure on the pump. You want to remove the support brace underneath on the bottom. 2 bolts up top, a nut and a bolt on each of the ends, both ends. You see where you got to get a little mean with it and whack it to get it to come loose. Where the outer tie rod connects, outer tie rod connects to the spindle. You gotta get pretty assertive with it, or it's not gonna come off. Now this car is gonna have to get an alignment, but you see these threads? I count these threads from here to the nut, and I put it back in that same position. The same with over here. And that way, it's like somewhat straight, somewhat close to what it used to be until it goes and gets in alignment. It makes it manageable. That's where I had to be, not on that side. I got a cold and my nose won't stop dripping. All right. You're gonna need a pan. It's gonna leak fluid. I'm draining the transmission fluid while I'm in here. Okay. I'm sorry, I lost y'all for a second there. We're back. So this is the bottom of your steering column yoke. And you call this a yoke. I'll try to move this out of the way so you can see. So you don't want to move this. You want to leave this in the position it was in and keep your steering wheel in the car centered. That way the steering wheel lines up. Otherwise, they'll never be able to get the alignment right. Those are the attention to detail things about this job. You have a nut here that comes in from the back end. And then this bolts to the rack and pinion. The rack and pinion comes here and here. And then here and here. And all this is in the way. And then you see you got your two lines here with your two nuts. You got your bolts here and here. When you remove those bolts, I like to keep them close by. I lube them, I clean them, all that. But you want to make sure you don't lose these little washers. And it has two of them. One on the bottom, and then it goes in, and one underneath. So this one has a little better setup where you slide this in and it kind of keeps them both together. But that side didn't have it. Some of them will be like this, two individuals, and then two together. You'll see what you end up with when you pull yours out. What else am I forgetting to tell you? Yeah, my grandfather used to say, if you're gonna work on it, make it look like you worked on it, right? So all this will get cleaned up. Super nasty right now. So we'll clean all that up. And then we'll proceed with installing. Now, if you look here, I want to point out something else. That's your lower control arm. It's like a dog bone, like a wishbone, because it has one that comes to here, and then it has this one that comes straight across, and they're both, let me see, I know I'm rotating a lot here. Work with me, guys. I'm upside down and I'm sick. So you got the one that comes across as your sway bar hooked up to it and comes across to the main subframe, to the cradle. And so that one appears to be fine. And then you have this other one that comes across and attaches to this one right here. And that one is the one that is needing to be addressed. The same on this side. All ripped up. comes in and attaches right here. So you got from here to the spindle to subframe, and then you have from the main arm, you have like a dog arm, like a wish arm. I don't know what the name of this is. It's similar to BMW's, but it's like two separate control arms, two lower control arms. So this one is shot. I'll show you the top view on it. And there you go. Well, that bushing is all ripped up. Upper control arm seems to be good. The sway bar links seem to be good. Here we go on this side. You can see it all ripped up in there. So, I got greasy hands and gloves on, so forgive me. That's your upper control arm, seems to be good. The main one that goes to the cradle seems to be good over there. I was pulling on it. And this is where that other one attaches to. Now to get it out, it's quite a bit of work involved. It looks easy, right? Like there's only one bolt there. Yeah, right, you wish they made it that easy. You got this bracket here, and then this one has to come out. So all this has to come off for this to come out. And these other kind of nuts, you loosen them and then you still got to knock this out with a hammer. And that attaches to the strut up top. So all that has to come off. To get that off, quite the little chore, you know. But whatever, no big deal. All right, well, I'm gonna call it a night. There is the new rack and pinion. I gotta get it down from there. Got my trusty little step ladder here. I also got to get under there and get all that cleaned up. And the customer bought a box of brake cleaner. But I don't want to clean all that up right now the way I'm feeling. So I'm going to wait till tomorrow when I'm feeling a little better. In here we have this transmission fluid. Fully synthetic Dexmark LV for Toyota, most GM, Hondas. It's like a import multi-vehicle stuff. Autoshack.com. This, I believe, is the outer tie rods. Just packaging. Wanted to show you all this. We got 3 of them. They're all the same. I'll show you one. I can't pronounce that. Inmitsu. So, this is your power steering fluid. Recommended by Lexus. And we ordered this online. Premium OE power steering fluid. So we're not just putting any power steering fluid back in it, we're putting the right stuff back in it. Anyways, I about pulled the shoulder, my left shoulder, getting this thing out of here. The nuts for the outer tie rods, you have to get pretty aggressive because, like I said, you take that crown nut off and they still don't come out. So I had this guy and this guy. I was working it, and I was swinging all this as hard as I could, and I went for a swing, and I know for sure I hurt my left shoulder super tender. Never hurt that shoulder before. So I'm gonna have to go put an ice pack on it, call it a night, lay down. I don't feel like cleaning everything and smelling brake cleaner right now. Don't want to climb up on a ladder, so we'll leave another part 2 video for everything all cleaned up and installed. But this gives you pretty much an idea of what it involves. The only thing I really didn't cover is what kind of tools. Obviously, I got my little handheld electric. I got a long ratchet, a couple long extensions. I got a 17 flex head ratchet wrench, and this I use for the cotter pin, 10 mil for the nut on top of the power steering lines, 12 and 14. Oh, I'm dropping the phone, slippery hands. 12, 14, 17, 10, 12, 14, and 17 size sockets. 17 wrench, couple long extensions, a flashlight don't hurt, breaker bar tube, wobble socket on a short 17. That's pretty much what it takes. That and a lot of patience. And I already showed you the hammers to knock that off. I don't think it's the hardest job in the world. It's just not fun to do. With a lift, it's much easier. Laying on your back, it can be a bear. I'm going to send them a link for those arms, control arms, and see what they want to do. If we can find them on Amazon Prime overnighted. If not, he'll have to come back for that. But we'll definitely do the transmission, the rack and pinion, and get all that cleaned up. And that's pretty much it. What he spent on this, I honestly don't know. He bought it online, so you save a lot of money online. You can price all that out. But the car has 222,000 miles, so does that rack and pinion. Engine's been replaced. Now it'll have a new rack and pinion. This rack and pinion was leaking from the inner boot, and the inner tie rods were bad. That's what made us want to change it. And the seal on the inside of that boot was leaking. Anyways, don't want to make this video too long. I'm sick, runny nose, don't look good. So, to the next video, I'm going to go drink some tea, have some soup, and live to fight another day tomorrow. Anyways, thanks for watching, y'all. God bless y'all. Have a good evening.